Welcome to another Tomorrow's World webcast. I'm Adam West. Thanks for joining us. On May 20th, 2016, The Guardian posted an article on its website with the title, NHS Hospitals in England Reveal £2.45 billion Record Deficit. And for those who may not know, the NHS is the National Health Service providing publicly funded health care to 64.6 million people living in the UK. The article goes on to state that the healthcare service is struggling under the weight of a, quote, decade-long period of historically low annual increases in its budget, end quote. Well, this is leaving the NHS to fight for air in what has been reported often as an ongoing and deepening financial crisis. With the dire state of the National Health Service in mind, could the NHS economize in regard to some services it presently offers? Well, let's look at just one instance where a spending cut would help the NHS out of its growing debt load and place common sense back on the table. An article from The Telegraph dated July 31st, 2016 really left me scratching my head in disbelief. The article states the following, quote, women having sex changes on the NHS are being given free fertility treatment so they can have children after becoming men, end of quote. Now, wait a second. Really? Well, let's read on. Quote, at least 3 British men who were born female are on the brink of becoming parents using fertility techniques. In most cases, eggs are being frozen at NHS clinics before surgery or hormone therapy so they can later be implanted into a surrogate mother. But in rare circumstances, the reassigned man could become pregnant and give birth if they kept their female reproductive organs, as happened in 2008 in Honolulu, end of quote. Wow. How much is all of this NHS-funded gender reassignment and fertility treatment service costing? Well, the article continues, quote, the average cost of female-to-male reassignment to the NHS is around £30,000. The cost of egg freezing IVF is around £3,000 more, end of quote. Dr. James Barrett of the NHS Gender Identity Clinic in West London states frankly that, quote, as a matter of principle, anybody who loses their fertility as a result of standard NHS treatment should be able to preserve their fertility, end of quote. You know, a principle is a fundamental truth, but truth was thrown out long before the question of these individuals losing their fertility became an issue. Gender reassignment surgery is not necessary, but is rather a form of voluntary self-mutilation, resulting in the added woe and complication of infertility. According to an ITV.com article, the annual cost to the tax-paying public is projected at £22.7 million. But there is also a nugget of hope. The Telegraph article continues, quote, critics said the NHS should not be spending such sums at a time when many basic services such as cataract operations are being rationed. Tory MP Peter Bone said, I am not sure why the taxpayers should be funding this. I just sometimes ask if the NHS is getting its priorities right. End of quote. That is quite an understatement from Mr. Bone, but he does bring up a good point. It is plain to see that the NHS priorities are not right. Rather than deny those who need treatment for actual, genuine physical infirmities, like cataract eye surgery, they are making funds available to individuals who are playing unnecessary and unnatural games with their God-given gender. The NHS is struggling under the weight of immense debt, and it's throwing money at those choosing a non-necessary procedure, facilitating and funding their means of maintaining their fertility to boot. All the while turning away those needing actual beneficial medical services. The NHS could use a strong dose of discernment as to what is right and what is obviously wrong. This is just common sense. Sadly, all too often, not so common. Go to tomorrowsworld.org to gain for yourself a heart of wisdom as you learn the valuable principles, the fundamental truths of God's Word. And be sure to join us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.